all across Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make your day. We are news. We are 24 News Radio TV. From Abuja to Lagos, Sokoto to Port Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin, all across Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make your day. We are news. We are 24 News Radio TV.
All right, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome, and thank you very much for joining us on yet another edition of Crossfire on 24 News Radio and Television at Duikiti. My name is Olushola Oyewole. Today, we'll be talking about a very, very pertinent issue that is occupying the public space presently, talking about the ADC coalition, the pros and cons. And we'll be having two gentlemen in the studio to do justice to the topic today. The first one is live with us in the person of Are Tokpe Amerijoye. That is Are Tokpe Olalekan Temitope Amerijoye. He's a public affairs analyst, and I want to tell you something about him. He's a man who is a bit conversant with the issue of cross-carpeting, because he's had cause to move from one party to the other over time. But this is not this is because of his own personal beliefs, and he'll be talking about that in the course of the program. And also a media practitioner par excellence, in the person of a former chief press secretary to the former governor of Osun State, that's Governor Boyega Oyetola, in the person of Alhaji Ismail Omikidon, who will also be joining us on the program, but online. So let me quickly welcome our guest who's here with us in person today. Chief, good afternoon. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
When I spoke about the issue of cross-carpeting, you laughed. Well, quite honestly, it seems to be a laughable affair presently, because it's so rampant and verging on the unbelievable. Let's start from there. Will you say that people are cross-carpeting for political beliefs or personal preservation and personal aggrandizement? Let's start with that.
Yeah, when I say that, good afternoon, viewers and listeners. Yeah, just like I've been introduced, my name is Are Amerijoye Olalekan Temitope. I was formerly secretary to Emogome under Segun and SSC on political and party relations. I also have opportunity to serve as a state PDP leader. Yes, just like I opined the other time when we were just having a private discussion. It all depends on what is driving you. Is what is driving you mission, or is it for crops? Mm-hmm. Is it for a rescue mission? Is it for the belief you had that Nigeria should be better for all? We have had occasions. I think I should hold this. Sorry.
It's okay.
Just like I said, it depends on your belief. And of course, is there any major political leaders in Nigeria that has not defected? I don't know if there's anyone. I argued some time ago with some of my friends. I said, if we are talking about defection, the fact that you defected once, or twice, or 3 times, or 4 times doesn't matter. Defection is defection. Actually, you defected for AD to AC. That's just a fact. Most journalists don't want to talk about it. In 2007, when we have AC created by Atiku, though erroneously being said that AC was created by Asiwaju, the fact remains that Atiku created AC when it was in PDB. There was amalgamation of ACD and the DAD to form AC. In fact, the certificate of registration was with Atiku. Asiwaju defected for AD to AC to support Atiku. And many people don't even remember that there was a presidential candidate for AD The president candidate for AD then was Baba Adefarati in Ondo State. He died 2 weeks to the election, and we have Ajua as a recipient. So it shows that Ajua supported somebody in AC against the then AD. That confirmed the father of Ajua defection to AC. To me, there's nothing wrong with defection if it is about mission to rescue Nigeria. If the convictions of your defection is that things are not being done rightly, and this particular platform is hospitable to your ideas and conviction that it should be done rightly, then you could defer to a very hospitable party that will allow you to execute your missions. So there's nothing wrong in defection. But people now demonizing others, defector, as if Asiwaju, in the favor of Asiwaju, as if Asiwaju has never defected. It's wrong. The media should correct that. It's wrong. Asiwaju defected for AD. The core AD, they are very, very fought Asiwaju on it. We have the record. It could be Google. Asiwaju walk against the candidate in 2007. He supported AC. So, what is the difference? If Atiku has led a different party, maybe on 2 occasions, on 2 or 3 occasions. For instance, he thought it was being not fair to in PDP in 2006, and a lot of his followers were in ACD, and there were elements led by Asiwaju supporting AD, and there was a cost for a new platform for him to realize his mission to get Nigeria better. And they have AC. He lost, and he felt betrayed because there were some incidents and issues. He moved back to his original party, which was PDP. Along the line, they thought it should be the turn of the North. Of course, all the problem we're having now on the issue of zoning started from the fact that our most amiable then president of the country, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, wanted to contest against all agreements, though amicable agreement, that ordinarily the North should serve 8 years and Yar'Adua serve 2 years and 11 months. And on that circumstance, having had Obasanjo spending 8 years, the North should spend another 8 years. But because of the unexpected death of
Yar'Adua, okay.
There was a motion of having Goodluck Jonathan as the vice president to actually succeed and be the full-fledged president after the death of Yar'Adua. And of course, good reasoning defines that we should have Jonathan to continue in that particular platform as president. He contested 2011, having been negotiated by Obasanjo with the Northerners. At that time, we have had 8 years of the South and 2 years and 11 months of the North. If we were to be honest with ourselves, it should be the turn of the North to complete and spend 8 years. Jonathan came on board. Unfortunately, I wouldn't know whatever prevailed over Jonathan. Jonathan thought he should contest for in 2015. And the Northerners felt aggrieved. They were angered. A lot of people capitalized on that. There was a coalition, just like we are having it today. A coalition to right the wrong. And we have Buhari. So, Atiku joined there in the coalition because he thought it was very unfair for Jonathan to run in 2015. Buhari be on board, and Atiku witnessing what was actually transpiring in the course of governance. And it's not see the desirousness of those in the hands of affair do the right thing. He moved back to PDP. Today, only a blind man will claim the ignorance of the fact that Ashwaju is not trying
Okay, giving us a lot of background in the scheme of things as far as this is. From all indication, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and that is allowed and acceptable.
yes.
But let us look at the person of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and the ADC. Well, you know, there's this saying that there can't be two captains on a ship. But as it is right now, they have 3, 4, 5 captains on a ship, and that is a recipe for disaster. Where do we go from there? You see, looking at the case, looking at what Atiku just said a few days ago, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, that he's definitely going to contest, in the primaries. What do you have to say about that? Because it's not about the person; it's supposed to be about a principle. In any case, we'll come back to that, talking about the principle. All these people are trained bedfellows in this ADC of a contraption. So what is your response to that?
I wouldn't know among all the personalities in the ADC that's trained bedfellow. I wouldn't know
because they're coming from different political parties. Except you want to say that
media
all
has
these
just misconstrued.
no, hold on. Except you want to say that these parties have more or less the same principles and philosophy.
Media,
and that ought not to be so.
Yeah.
Because if they do have the same principles and philosophy, then you might as well have just one party.
You just allow me to say this.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Media are just misconstrued.
Okay.
Maybe for their, I wouldn't know about. If any media person is saying that such media person are not digging into the political issue of Nigeria.
No. I'm not. Well, mind you, I'm not speaking for myself.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
I'm communicating
I know you are just saying
on the street. Yes.
Perhaps the views of the people on the street.
Precisely. Yes.
Anybody that viewed the coalition that led to ADC, a such man might not have actually dig into the past. Will you say somebody that was brought into politics by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, like Rufai, is a strange bedfellow to him, regardless of the party that is coming for now? Will you tell us that Obi, that was picked in 2019 as vice presidential candidate to Atiku, who always regard Atiku as a mentor, is a strange bedfellow to him? No, that is not correct. That's not a correct assertion. These people are coming together. They have had calls to interact. They have had calls to be in one party together or the other in the past. Something could have separated them along the line. But they not deem it fit to come together again in a rescue mission to rescue Nigerian people for this suffering, for the commercialization of poverty, for the privatization of poverty in favor of the nursery or openness of our rulers. So I don't see anything wrong in that. They are coming together. Of course, the imaginary fear of the ruling party and Tinubu is that they won't come together. They won't find a common cause. Let me tell you, now that they have found a common cause, the next line of propaganda is presidential ambition will separate them. The presidential ambition separates Atiku from supporting Buhari when he merged at the primary in APC. He actually wanted to be president. Buhari was picked and he supported him. Why should people now begin to providing us fallacy of opposing fact when they know the real fact? The real fact is that the coming together of these people there will be a transparent primary that will determine the flag bearer of ADC. It is always the headache of APC to think that there will be prime here, but there won't be prime.
Okay, well, perhaps we should leave personalities aside and talk about the issues at stake here and the principles behind these issues. You see, okay, everyone, I want to believe, in the ADC or in the coalition, quote and unquote, of the opinion that this present administration is not doing well enough.
Yeah.
But their focus is ousting the man who epitomizes this administration in the person of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let us talk about the underlying issues. You know, these issues should be preferred and brought into the front burner. This is why we feel we should take over government. This is the reason why we feel government is underperforming. This is how we can do it better. These are the issues that should be addressed for the people to understand and believe perhaps a genuine alternative is available.
Yeah, of course, when you sample the opinion of the sovereign Nigerian masses, except the contractors who might be benefiting from this government, except the party faithful who think their allegiance is to their party, except perversions, people who are sentimental about this issue of Asiwaju being the president of Nigeria. The fact remains that Nigerian people are suffering. We don't need to deodorize that. We don't need to begin to say Asiwaju is doing well. I must confess to you, just like Awolowo will always say in some of his books, the unit of development in every nation is the people. Any policy of government that does not target Nigeria's suffering people is not actually doing well. Targeted there in times of welfare, targeted there in times of providing security. I don't know why people are saying Asiwaju is doing well. What is the metric of merriment?
Everybody's entitled to his or her own opinion.
Yeah, that, of course, that is my opinion.
Yes.
But I'm representing the opinion of the sovereign Nigerian masses. I'm not representing the opinion of people living in opulence. I'm not representing the opinion of people in government.
Well, hold on, sir, before you go on. But there is the moral question.
Yeah.
This suffering, was it created by this present administration or something this administration has to contend with to be able to settle down and forge ahead?
It was triggered by them.
Are you sure?
Yeah, this suffering was triggered by Bola Ahmed, the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria. It was triggered by it, but it was a prayer created by APC. In fact, when I shocked when I saw Gbadagbe Amina and Ribadu saying shortly after the reception that they erected a bioeconomy from Buhari. See, not a transition, was it not a transition from APC to APC? You inherited a bad economy from Buhari. Who should you blame for that? Should you blame PDP for that? Should you blame the ADC that's getting revigorated for that? No. The suffering was triggered because of a statement, just one statement. One statement, careless decision of not studying the impact of removal of subsidy. A lot of people have asked me in the past, was it not in the manifesto of Atiku that he would remove subsidy? Yes, he has it in his manifesto. Was subsidy not be gradually removed for that PDP? When it was to be removed totally in 2014, they brought politics against it. And my brother, qualify me, affirm it that they actually play politics against it. If it were to be Atiku, there would be a way that removal of subsidy will be meticulously phased out. Not just in one war, the subsidy is gone.
How do you know that? How can you be so sure?
Let me tell you.
Okay.
Of course, as a media person, you must have heard Kawadifa saying that. It's on social media.
I read it.
Yeah. That they play politics against the total removal of subsidy. I get it.
No.
And of course, you know for sure that subsidy under PDP was meticulously being phased out gradually, in such that it will guarantee the average Nigerian social security. It will guarantee an average Nigerian palliative mayor, not this palliative mayor that actually is introducing. There's more or less a mockery of the poor. You cannot be living in no place. I've been telling the suffering masses to bear the brunt of your policy. You cannot be buying ash, buy a expensive car, renew your aircraft, and be telling people to the sovereign masses to bear the brunt. I don't see that as a good policy. A policy that not target relief for poor people. It's not a good one.
Yes, well, let's move on. You see, we are talking about the ADC, the coalition, the pros and cons. Barely 2 years into this present administration, a lot of issues have been raised of negative coloration, basically. And people are, of the opinion that this is not being fair. After all, governments cannot, really be properly assessed until maybe 3 years or 2.5 years into the administration. Are you now saying that this government, this present government, has not done anything, absolutely nothing at all, has not done anything right up until this present moment? I'd like to ask you that, being a very vibrant member of the opposition, quote and unquote.
Well, I don't actually know what has President Bola Ahmed Tinubu done to translate into relief for the poor masses. Anything that translates to the relief of the poor masses, I will celebrate on that. Anything that make the ruling class to live in opulence, I will criticize it. Our leaders are living in opulence when the suffering Nigerian masses should bear the brunt. Why? Why should we bear the brunt of their poor policy? Why should we bear the brunt of their flip-flop policy, economic policy? If in Yoruba Palace, we used to say that if you take a man 20 years to practice madness, that should be enough for him to exhibit it. Asiwaju have been, in his own statement, has been non-street ambition to be president for the past 30 years. Of course, he vied for that position because he thought he could have one correction or the other. What are the corrections is he bringing about? Is it this suffering? If the issue is this suffering that he has failed, if somebody has practiced madness for 20 years, and what he could exhibit now is he pour out of it, what do we call it? Asiwaju has simply failed. And I think the only way out for Asiwaju, which is very adept in, is to fracture the opposition. And that is the essence of the ADC. You have fractured the Labour Party, you have fractured the PDP, and no this that are coming together under ADC. In fact, you are attempting to fracture ADC presently. If it were done that way under Jonathan, because people will say, when we are talking of 2027, people will say, Tinubu is not Jonathan. What is different between Tinubu and Jonathan? The fact that Jonathan followed the rule of laws, and he's a Democrat, and Tinubu want to be a dictator. That is just the difference. He want to win an election at all costs. Need the opposition to criticize you. Need the opposition to hold you accountable. not by way of fracturing the opposition and people calling you a master strategist. Master strategist is providing sovereign for the masses. Is that a master strategist? Is that not? That is not a master strategist that will celebrate. Any master strategist that will celebrate will be the one that provide economic policy that relieve the masses of their pain and suffering. That's just it.
Okay, well, you seem to be set in your own views and opinions. But I now want to ask you, where do we go from here? You see, because all the dramatics personnel in the ADC are those who have, at one time or the other, been in government. And the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. All these problems we're complaining about now did not start during the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if the truth must be told. So what exactly are they going to be doing differently now? You see, because it's often said too that it's not about the people really. It's about their persons. It's about, it's a case of self first before any other thing. Why would somebody like Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who was vice president for 8 years, be so insistent on becoming president of Nigeria? What did he forget in the presidency? You see, because when he was vice president, that position was really empowered by his principal. I doubt if there's any other vice president who has that kind of latitude or clout in government. But yet, he's still insistent that he wants to come back. To do what exactly? Maybe you want to tell me about that.
Well, I wouldn't know why people have actually been upset with Atiku contesting for presidential, being in the presidential race again.
I'm not obsessed. I'm just asking the question.
No, people. I'm not actually referring to you.
Well, because he's a perpetual contestant.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We have had people being driven by mission, like Mandela, who spent 27 years
in jail.
That will be a way that Mandela will have compromised that mission of rescuing South Africa from apartheid when he was in prison for 27 years. We have had an American president who contested several times, Abraham Lincoln, couldn't make it at a go, but later became the American president. The similarity is that there's something driving them. And in Yoruba parlance, we always say, somebody that is running up a hill, if something is not chasing him, then he's actually driving at something. What is that people driving at? Development for Nigeria. Development. Washington, is it Washington or Jefferson who said when the woman asked him after the Constitutional Conference for America in the days on independence of America, that woman asked him, what would the Constitution give up? And he said, Republic if you can keep it. Atiku has this conviction that Nigeria can be better than this. Atiku has conviction, and that conviction is the one driving. Atiku believes we could have a better Nigeria by restructuring, by empowering the private sector to create jobs, by decentralizing the security, digitalizing the surveillance. I think we believe that, of course, subsidy will go, but the cushioning in power should be put in place before the removal of subsidy. I think we believe that removal of subsidy should not be the one that put the ruling class in opulence and make the poor to bear the brunt of the policy. So, I need to say this, that for every Nigerian that one way or the other have been impacted, have been subjected to excruciating suffering, must now recruit into ADC because we are on a rescue mission.
Okay, Ariam Rejoye, let's now leave all this and talk about the constitutional requirements for joining any political party. Ab initio, all these people who are gravitating towards the ADC now were bona fide card-carrying members of other parties up until recently when they started resigning in ones and twos and all that. What is the implication? Because from my little understanding, for you to be a bona fide member of a party, you must join right from what level and then, rise up like that. I doubt very much if any of these men, this so-called juggernauts, have fulfilled this requirement. So, what do you think that portends for the party itself?
Well, I've heard the media saying what they have not taken place to study. Because at times when you ask any opposite view as regard the membership of ADC, if they are actually studying the constitution of ADC, many of them will say no. So when people ask us, have we become member of ADC? I wonder the background, I couldn't decipher the background of such question. We actually transpose into ADC from different political background to rescue Nigeria from the agony that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is subjecting us. And of course, yes, it entails that you must be a card-carrying member of that party. Many people did not even aware that the registration of ADC is being done online.
Okay.
If I on 2-3 occasions.
Are you now saying that a lot of these people have?
Yes, on 2-3 occasions.
Okay.
Even the online registration platform has crashed
because of the rush.
Because of the torrential level of registration.
Okay.
A lot of people are trooping. The suffering Nigerian people are actually trooping in to register as member of ADC. If I were not a member of ADC, I would claim I'm a member of ADC. If the chairman of ADC in Ekiti does not know me, I wouldn't have entertained the idea of coming to speak on behalf of ADC here. We have people from different political background coming to form ADC. In Ekiti, we have people from APC, we have people from Labour Party, and majorly we have people from PDP. The situation is that some people fed actually don't do the right thing, and they were members of APC, and decided to leave. Some people fed actually as factual PDP because he has gotten quite a number of people as impostors to derail PDP in PDP, and they decided to leave. So people in Labour Party thought the best thing to rescue this country is to come together. There's nothing wrong in that.
Okay, yes. Let's also talk about the moral issues raised by this coalition and the change in leadership. Before this time, the ADC had been in existence for quite some time, about 2 decades, and the party was run by certain people who probably had, faith in the principles, guiding that party. But now people are coming from different, political backgrounds, and they're taking up positions of leadership. Of course, that must cause a lot of discontent and discomfort, So how is that being managed within the party? Because I've had 1 or 2 things about some disgruntled elements who are saying, well, they just can't come and take over the party like that. These things must be addressed, really. We need to know where we are.
Well, I think the infusion of people into ADC from different backgrounds has been adequately taken care by the national ESCOs of ADC. Many of us could have witnessed the adding over of the party, the interim leadership by Nwosu, who was the former national chairman of ADC. And what some people did not even know is that even before that particular activities, the remark has already registered as ADC member. We were just doing the official ceremony of handing over, and by virtue of that, the card of the party was handed over to the bank. If we were to go by that handing over, the atmosphere of handing over was so harmonious. We cannot rule out the fact that the only party sweating, getting threatened, will not want to create an acrimonious tendency in the coming together of all these sentiments. Of course, we heard that they have been sponsoring some bad elements, but I don't want to discuss that since that is already in court.
Really?
Yeah, because
Okay.
we had certain elements that have gone to court. But in the situation whereby virtually all the members of the National Work Committee decided to hand over to the interim. Quite unfortunate for people to think that we do not have legal practitioners who will have looked into those issues in ADC. ADC is not just a party that we adopted a few days ago. It was a party that these elements have been working upon for the past 18 months. Of course, you will know that the initial venue for that program was cancelled because of government unnecessarily feeling threatened and frightened. And we'll be dead to the game by having alternative venue. Of course, you can guess from that whatever the ruling party is bringing upon, we have alternative way of addressing it. I don't want to be too open on that. Let them come with whatever they think they can do to get us derailed. The fact remains that they think Obi, El-Rufai, Amechi, Atiku, Tambuwal, David Mark, and others cannot come together because of the fear or the mathematic certainty that coming together all these people will defeat them to 2027. We have come together. Whatever they are doing now is just a reaction to that. So I want to leave you at that.
Well, I'm sure it won't come as a surprise to you that the masses, your people, the people in the ADC, claim to want to be standing up for very, very circumspect and a bit suspicious about the ADC. I was listening to a Vox yesterday or this morning, and the people's opinion, well, they say, well, they're smart, they're so gullible anymore, and that they're asking, what are these people coming back to do? Everybody, each and every one of them, have had their own share of stay, lengthy stay in government. And well, if they couldn't do anything right at that time, what is the assurance or the certainty that they will do anything right now, this time? So there's the belief that the devil you know is better than the saints you don't know. More so that those who claim to be saints in the past turned out not to be so. You know, it's neither here nor there, actually.
Well, I wouldn't know what could have made anybody to arrive at that conclusion. But of course, I need to tell you this. When you compare 1999 to 2007, of course, you can actually see the difference.
Okay.
Just like era of independence. And Enaro said sometimes in the late 50s, early to the independence, very close to the independence. We actually cry for the future, desperately, that it will be better. And when the future comes, we weep because we are loving a very gracious past. Unfortunately, many of our people in their previous positions demonstrated good leadership. Unfortunately, of course, I need to tell you this. I used to tell people whenever they discuss with me, we wouldn't have had the opportunity of social media, onslaught, social media engagement, if not for the transformation that was achieved under Obasanjo Atiku in the area of telecommunication. We could count by number people who have access to telephone in those days. Today, by virtues of our phones, we can access Facebook, Twitter, we can access WhatsApp. Actually, that was one of the glorious days of the past. If you have to talk of National House Assembly, it's only rumors that will fed the ignorance of the fact that under David Mark, we had it better than now. Under David Mark, we have the legislative arm of the government better than now. It's not the one we have now that they have to stand up singing, on your mandate we stand. It is expected that the legislative arm should shake the executive. But what we have now is the legislative arm coming together to unitize the executive. If you have people for those background coming together to say things have been done wrongly, I think they are right. And the right place will be in ADC. Because that is the only platform that Tinubu is yet to fracture. All other platforms are the fracture by Tinubu because of unnecessary fear that having a very viable opposition will not make it to win 2027. If you are doing well, why should you be fear? Why should you be afraid? It's not doing well. And the best you could do that you people and other people in the street who are sympathetic to his cause who now call him a master strategy is to fracture the opposition.
Okay, let me tell you once again. Let's leave out the personalities involved. Let's talk about the issues some more. We're talking about the ADC now. Would you say it's a generally acceptable party or generally accepted party in the Southwest, for instance? As a matter of fact, in Ekiti State, for example, how would you assess the popularity of the ADC? Let's take it from there now.
What? I'm not the tribal.
And I'll tell you why. Because elections is a game of numbers.
Yeah.
Talking about votes and all that. So, how do you want to go about amassing the votes that will effect this change that you're seeking? So I wouldn't say so desperately, but so passionately. Let me put it that way.
Yes. I don't want to get unnecessarily deluded with. You see, when people are sentimental, they will say what is not right.
Okay.
I'm not the child who gets
I agree with you on that.
I'm a polemist.
Okay.
A polemist is the one who actually view issue from both sides. I'm not the one who, I don't want to say I'm a writer. Of course, I'm one. But I'm a polemist. Polemist, I view issues at both sides of the argument. If you are talking of ADC in Ekiti, ADC is still in its embryonic state.
Okay.
Of course, coalescence of all four energies, synergies. You cannot actually say what it will become in Ekiti now. I don't want to project wrongly, but when you have people like Akiomole coming on board,
really,
for APC,
that's news.
When you have Honorable Yemi Dare from PDP, when you have Professor Leka for PDP, when you have the likes of Dr. Fasheluka Former head of state.
You mean from a head of service? They can say
Head of service,
head of
rather.
service.
Sorry
Okay.
for that mistake.
Yeah.
For that error. When you have my brother Gbega Obayemi,
Okay.
when you have Fish Anishuno, when you have Benjamin Akomalafe, who has been a manager in Stanbic Bank before, coming on board. So we say such personalities did not actually mean something.
Well, I want to call your attention to something. All these names you mentioned just lend credence to the fact that these are people who have not been in government for some time. So is it really about the situation or the fact that they see themselves better off in government? I'm sorry to say this. It's just a question that is plaguing my mind. Because all these names you mentioned have at one time or the other served in government here in Ekiti State. But, some years back now, they've been, out of it. And all of a sudden, they're now coming up again. So could you really say that it's about the passion for the people? Because when these people you mentioned, when they were there, one might as well list the things they were able to do for the people to be able to assess that, okay, their level of sincerity or otherwise.
Well, the people I would measure, if you check them out, they are personality who have flair for people-oriented programs, people-oriented policy. They say you have a contrary opinion to juxtapose me wrongly.
No.
But if you don't have, I can tell you for sure that the personality I mentioned, when you check their out in government, should I even talk about myself? And I opportunity to be secretary of the council, to be modest. I don't see if there's any secretary that ever come after me that can prove he has done better than me. I have had opportunity to empower youths in several ways. I have had opportunity to assist the youth to travel out for postgraduate courses abroad. If I'm not mistaken, and those things have been cross-checked even for Senate Bank, I've had the opportunity to assist and enable such an individual to travel out almost 51 for program courses abroad. When we're in the no government, we actually bring the government closer. We brought the government closer to the people. So if you have to take the measurement from my personality, be on board, and perhaps represent all other people in the ADC, I can tell you for sure that this individual were once performers in government. They were one performance. They have done one thing or the other that you can actually say, if they have opportunity to be in power again, they will relieve the masses of their suffering. Well, just like I said, I don't know what you have as your justification, position to actually say these are not the right people in ADC.
I never said so.
Yeah, people actually want to take up.
I wouldn't want to be quoted.
We are in a situation now. Is it not compelling that you have people from different backgrounds coming together? Is it not convincing enough for people in APC who feel dissatisfied with this present government, and people in opposition feel dissatisfied with this present government, and they are coming together on a rescue mission? I must confess to you, if what we are witnessing now, I wouldn't know how some of you might feel. I wouldn't know individual contractor might feel. I wouldn't know individual party loyalists might feel. But an average Nigeria is being subjected to agony and suffering. Check their BP. is on high. That is the situation of the country now. Tinubu promised he will reduce the purchasing power. He has done that. The increment in salary does not actually correlate to what you buy in the market. A bag of rice now is not comparable to what it was under Jonathan. It was not even comparable to what it was under Buhari. Is that not needed for a rescue mission? You see, let me just say this. All these people are coming together because they need to rescue Nigeria's sovereign masses for the ineptitude, inept leadership of Tinubu. And that should be convincing enough that it's not personal. It's not a service mission. It's just about the masses who could not afford 10,000 to cook a soup at home. It's just about a poor masses who could not afford to buy a bag of rice that they used to buy. They used to buy in those days 10,000, 12,000. It's just about somebody going to Abuja, fueling his car in 2022 with 30,000, and now you have to spend almost 70,000 to fuel that car. You see, though people should not be unnecessarily misconceived and misinterpreted the coming together of these elements from the ruling party, for the opposition party, coming together to rescue Nigeria for the pag of agony, for the pag of the sovereign. I think that is a very good decision.
Okay, fair enough. Let me call your attention to some statistics and, should I say, computations. An election is due in Ekiti State in, next year, 2026, and the Nigeria. Once it starts, now, how do you want to go about a certain, should I say,
brothers and sisters,
most of us,
regardless of party affiliation, or if we need to say a rebate of ADC was done in July, we need to be very so clear about that. That does not actually foreclose the fact that ADC will have a candidate
in Ekiti.
That does not foreclose that.
Okay.
And who tells you that we won't have somebody from APC coming to be a candidate of a ADC?
ADC.
You cannot actually foreclose that.
No.
So I don't want to go into that void of not too clear direction. For now, I want to say ADC is coming on board. You have very viable personality coming on board for both parties. Or will I say, it's not just about the MPC, PDP, it's also about inclusion of all other parties. That's the primary of all parties, if I'm not mistaken, it might likely come October. If I sit here to tell you this is how it will go, then I'm not being very cautious.
Being sincere or being honest with yourself. I understand.
Be honest enough.
I understand.
Yeah, we could have a situation whereby somebody from APC can even be a candidate of ADC. You can have a situation whereby PDP from PDP can be candidates of ADC. So I won't be able to speak accurately what the future holds when it comes to a nation of Ekiti. Who tells you that the former governor too cannot be a governorship candidate in the ADC?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
From all you have said, I can just deduce that, as the saying goes in politics, no permanent friends, no permanent
Certainly.
foes, only permanent interests.
Yeah.
But time will tell if these interests are actually in the true interest of the people and the masses. I believe time will tell.
Certainly, yes.
Yes, well, dear viewer and dear listener too, it's been a while. We've been talking to Are Olalekan Temitope Amerijoye, a public affairs analyst who has actually experienced the cross-carpeting phenomenon in Nigeria for reasons best known to him, and he actually came on to justify why this is so. People do these things for different reasons. Well, he has been able to convince me on air and off air as well that his own particular, should I say, cross-carpeting was born out of I want to apologize over our inability to online in the person of Alhaji Ismail Omipidon, the former chief press secretary to a former governor of Osun State, Governor Boyega Oyetola, who is presently a ministry in the present administration. Well, I want to thank our guest, Mr. Amerijoye. Thank you so much for coming on.
There's something I want to correct.
Okay, please.
This particular coalition, I never
Yes.
said it's not born out of principle. I didn't say that. I actually trace cross-carpeting to principle-driving purposes in which people could have led their party because what they expected of that particular party is not being done.
They didn't get it.
Yeah, I want to tell you, mission-driving cross-carpeting is what I actually talk about. Is this a mission? When you have a mission-driving carpeting, it's just like you are on board in a car, and along the line, the car got stuck. Then the next thing is to take the available vehicle that will take you to your destination. That is exactly what I mean. Atiku has a mission to survey Nigeria, and if there's anything driving it is because he actually pursuing development for the country.
Yes.
I need that to reflect in our conversation.
Yes, okay, fair enough. I never controverted what you said.
Yeah.
But I want to call attention to something. Are you the person who once turned down an appointment to be commissioner here in Ekiti State?
Yes, I had the opportunity because I was actually following
a former governor?
No, not a former governor. I was following MOB.
Okay.
And somebody in person of my lovely brother, my former boss, who usually call me Oshobo Jr., offered me appointment under him. At that material time, I was with MOB.
Okay.
And I said,
And you turned it down on principle?
I won't be able to take that because MOB reposed so much confidence in me. And of course, on several occasions, you too said it. Said such position I took was so rare. He said in the presence of the lives of Olujimi, said Olujimi, he said in the presence of people like my noble brother Tuba Palawale at the point when they were trying to reconcile my House Assembly aspiration. So it was not something so easy. I decided to turn it down. I took more stock. I believed so much desperately in Michael appointment back then. I couldn't have betrayed.
Okay. Well, to all intents and purposes, that relationship seems to be on hold right now because you're aspiring to do something else away from what MOB is doing right now. But like I said, in politics, no permanent friends, no permanent foes, only permanent interest. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you. Well, we'll be talking to you some more as time goes on. We're glad to have you here at 24 News Radio and Television. And we hope that you come around from time to time as time permits. Yes, do stay with us. At about 5 minutes past 2 this afternoon, will be hooking up to a sister station to broadcast a program being syndicated by the state government, talking about a program on the Ajire Hub, creating employment for the youth and also creating money-making opportunities for the people of Ekiti State. Do stay with us on 24 News. And once again, I thank you for joining us on Crossfire. Until the next edition, I still remain very much Olushola Oyewole. Good day.
Yeah. Maybe you goof.